Hello everyone, hope you're doing well. Today I'm giving you my opinion about the latest OPETH. For those who are joining this channel for the first time, as you can see from this, I like OPETH a tiny bit. I know them quite well. They are in my top 3 favorite bands. The new OPETH is here. We'll start with negative points and then positive points, and then I will talk a bit about every song. So first negative point for me is the name of the songs. It really doesn't help us, I think, to memorize the songs if they are named chapter 1, chapter 2, chapter 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 and so on. For example, Metropolis Part 2 from Dream Theater. No one is saying, oh, my favorite song by Dream Theater is Act 2, Scene 7, Part 1, The Dance of Eternity. No one is saying that. Everyone remember that song as being called The Dance of Eternity. Even the musicians, even Dream Theater members, they're not saying, oh, let's play Scene 7, Part 1. You know? So, yeah, I understand that it's for the concept album, but to me, it doesn't really help. Second thing, the album is might be a bit too proggy. Let me explain. Sometimes you have a chilled, classic, new era OPETH section. Then you have a heavy section, and you're like, yeah, fuck yeah. And then it lasts only for 5 seconds. And it goes back to a chill section. And sometimes you do not have the time to enjoy the emotions from that heavy section or that chill section. Even sometimes you have some beautiful, clean sections, but they are too short, and you do not have the time to really enjoy them, I think. Third negative point, not enough memorable riffs for me. I really cannot. I've listened to the album a few times, and I cannot really point my finger on a riff that I really remember. You know, like Master's Apprentices, you know, or Demon of the Fall, or Ghost of Perdition, or Blackwater Park, you know. So me personally, I think that especially with metal, I like to identify a song with a specific riff, like an amazing riff. That's how you remember most songs, or usually otherwise it's with a really good chorus, you know, or an amazing guitar solo. I need that really memorable thing that I will remember, that will help me remember the song and identify the song. Fourth and last negative point for me is the guitar solos. I believe there is not enough patterns in the solos or motifs. Now I know that it's Frederick style. Let me explain. I will improvise something. Like his solos are like it always starts with a big band. You know, it floats and it goes everywhere, and it's cool, but you do not remember. There's no sections in these solos, and you cannot remember those solos because of that. Like, for example, I did a cover of Tornado of Souls before, and there's this section of this. remember this solo because of that section, because you are able to sing that section. For me, that's something that is really important in guitar solos, is that you need to be able to tell a story with your solo. You need to have some kind of evolution. You need elements that will help the listener to remember a guitar solo. So those solos are really nice to listen to. They really suit the song well, but I struggle to remember them. I struggle to say, oh, in that song I really like that solo that goes like this. I cannot sing the solo after listening to it. And for me, that's an issue. For me, that's all the negative aspects of this album. Let's go to the positive ones. First one, obvious one, heavy OPETH is back, and that's fucking amazing. That's something that people thought wouldn't happen. You know, people gave up on this, and it felt so good to finally have growls and heavy distorted guitars and badass drums, heavy drums. Second aspect, the drummer is amazing. I've seen several people on YouTube saying the same thing. Really happy with him. During the entire album, I was doing hair drumming, even if I know nothing about drums. But yeah, that guy definitely deserves his spot in the band. And I think some people will look after him as a great drummer, because that's what he is. He's an amazing drummer. Really happy with him. Third positive point. Michael's vocals are probably the best they've ever been. Like the clean vocals, but also the growls and the false chords. Clean vocals are super pristine, super clean. And he reaches some really high notes. You can feel that he has much more experience than before doing those kind of vocals. And the growls are amazing. Really cannot say anything negative about his vocal performances on this album. Fourth positive point, musicianship is crazy. Super unique album. Super unique sound. I've never heard really an album that sounds like this. I've not listened to 5,000 bands, but to me that's a really unique album, and that's something that as a musician it should be the biggest thing you should aim for, is to have a unique sound. Also, it's really proggy, and he manages to make the transitions between sections really seamless. Like you do not feel any sections. You know, it just really flows really well. So yeah, really talented guy, obviously. But everyone knows that. Positive point number 5, the mix. Great mix. Especially because of the complexity of the album. There is the complexity of the songs. There is a lot of different elements in the album, a lot of different emotions, a lot of different sounds, and that's difficult to mix, because when you're mixing, you need to make compromises, you need to make choices. For example, it's almost impossible to have a mix that has a lot of ambient sound, you know, atmospheric sound, and have a lot of impact or being really aggressive. You cannot have that. It's not possible. So when you have sections that are ambient followed by sections that are typical death metal, it's really difficult to make them work together. But hey, it's working well. Sometimes you have a lot of vocals, or a lot of reverb on Michael's vocals, and sometimes you have no reverb at all in the same song. No reverb at all in the same song. So yeah, the mixing engineer really did his job really well. Also, in the songs, you always have some little elements that are not like a main instrument, but they're helping you to make the song seems more full. And usually when you're not mixing when you're not, like I'm mixing my demo, and so I have some experience with that, like I know the basics, but the average listeners usually doesn't listen to those little noises, those little sounds that happy here and there, you know. Usually they're panned far right or far left, and there are small little elements that make the song more lively, the song's better. And that's something that as a songwriter it's difficult to come up with that, because usually you only think about, okay, I will write my guitar parts, I will write the bass, I will write the drums, the vocals, and that's it, and maybe the keyboards, and that's it. But there's a lot of different other instruments in that album that are not the main instruments, and so that's what makes this album sounds great too. Positive point number 6, I think it's the perfect mix of old and new OPETH. Like it's really a mix of the latest album with, I think, Ghost Reveries and Still Life. It has the same kind of vibe, especially the spooky vibe from Ghost Reveries. OPETH are always pushing the boundaries and proves that they deserve their spot as one of the greatest metal bands of all time. Because after 14th album, they're still creating new stuff, new sounds. So yeah, that's it for the positive points. Let's go to track by track. First one, I did a reaction video for it, so feel free to go check that out. We have a new outro that we didn't get when they released the single, and that outro is beautiful, and for me they should have included that outro in the single. I like the first track because in the first track you have what sounds like a chorus, like you have Michael who's singing "The Last Will and Testament of the Father," and so you remember that song because of that. The second track, I liked it, but I cannot remember anything, and that's the issue that I have with some other songs, and the issue that I've talked before. So I like that song, but I cannot sing anything from it, you know, that's the issue. Third track, I like the Middle East riff that we have in the beginning, but it's not my favorite song neither. Fourth track, that's one of my favorite ones. I love the part around 1 minute 40 with the, I think it's a harp or maybe a mellotron, I don't know. After that you have a flute section, and then you have a guitar solo that is really cool, and after that you have a heavy section that is also really nice. So you have a lot of cool stuff in that song. Number 5, there's a section at 2 minutes 26, which is one of my favorite from the album. The ending of that song is great. It reminds me a bit of Deliverance. Like it's an ending that I think when they will play it live, they might repeat it a bit longer, just like they do with Deliverance. Number 6, chapter 6, is my favorite song from the album. It starts with an uplifting, fast tempo section that reminds me of Era from Sorceress, and Era was my favorite song from Sorceress. There's a section at 2 minutes and 10 seconds, which is amazing, and they finally keep that energy for several minutes instead of doing something really cool and then changing straight away. So they are keeping that energy, and that riff reminds me of White Cluster from Still Life, which is also one of my favorite songs. During that super cool section, you have some kind of spooky party vibe with like, it reminds me a bit of Ghost, literal Ghost, but also the band Ghost. Like, I don't know if people will have the same feeling for me. Same feeling than me. So yeah, I really like that one. Number 6 is my favorite one. Chapter 7, I really love the atmosphere in that song. The heavy riff is really cool. But that's about it for that song. And number 8, took some notes. Story Never Told, the only song with a title, which makes it easier for you to remember that song. Typical, slow, gentle and beautiful song. Perfect to end this album. Reminds me of Love, Lone Crime from the previous album. And that song ends with a beautiful long solo. But again, I really liked listening to that solo, but I cannot sing it. There's one melody that he repeats in that solo, but still it doesn't have enough impact, I think. So yeah, that's my feeling about this album. For me, that's still an amazing album. It's a solid 8 out of 10 for me. Might change with time, because I think that's an album that you need to listen to for a while before making your final opinion. So I don't know, maybe it will change for me. But yeah, tell me what you think about it. Do you think it should be classified as a masterpiece, or is it just a great album, or are you disappointed? Let me know. And feel free to subscribe. You know how it works. Maybe one day I will do a top 14 album from OPETH. Because I think that's cool. So yeah, feel free to follow me if you want to see that video. And see you soon.